Hey there, YouTube. How's it going? Nerdy Narwhal here, and I'm back again today with another 6-scale action figure to review. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the Asmus Toys Escape from New York Snake Plissken action figure. Let's dive on in. Now, I'm going to try to do this unboxing here live on camera. We are in my garage. My garage is consistently a mess, but today it's going to work out all right for what we've got to do. Now, if I start sweating profusely, that's because we're in the middle of a heat wave, and my garage does not have air conditioning. So we're going to take that outer slip sleeve off, just set it to the side. Now we have this box here. We're going to crack that open. And as you can tell, presentation is really, really nice. You have the, let's rearrange the camera real quick here. Look at that. You have Call Me Snake, SD Bob Snake Plissken. You have another little slippy sleeve going on like this. Everything. Now, let me back up. I've been a fan of Asmus Toys for a very long time. I've had all of their crown release figures. I think I've had every single one of their figures come through my collection at one point in time. This might be the best presentation I've ever seen them pull off. Now, we have this Escape from New York. If you want to display the box, let's go back to the top. You can take this little Velcro, boom, and it works as a backdrop maybe to the figure display. I don't know. I don't really care about boxes, so I'm not ever going to use that, but I can appreciate good presentation when it happens. You have this little card, 8004. I wonder if that's what number this figure is. If so, that's a nice low number. There is a maintenance request and warranty card. This is an expensive figure, so that's nice to have. You have an entire booklet. Seriously, it's like a little graphic novel on how to put this figure together, and it's full of art pictures of the figure in there. Really, really nice stuff. Wow. Toothbrush, how to take care of the hair, that's wild. Body has the tattoo, okay. All right, cool. Now, let's get to the figure proper. Let me just slap that back in there. I'm gonna need some room. All right, removing, and bada boom. We've got Snake Plissken. Here is his belt. There we go. Full disclosure, I got this used for what I thought was a really good deal. So this is not a brand new unopened figure being opened for the first time. Nice, got that leather jacket. First, he's not wearing the rubber arms right now, which is fine because he's in that leather jacket. He does seem a little bulky though, right? Like he can't put his arms down to the sides. Maybe he's been doing too many lat workouts. I'm not sure. Still looks better than the sideshow version. Let's take that head sculpt out. Whoo-wee. That is a really nice head sculpt. But does it look like Kurt Russell? Like most 6-scale head sculpts, I'd say it has its angles. That's real, giving me real Kurt Russell vibes. From the straight on, maybe less so, but still, that's excellent. We've come a long way since Asmus's first Gandalf the White figure release, haven't we? Oh, yes, we have. Set that up there for now. And take out, oh, we can't take out the display base. I'm gonna have to stand up for this one. Okay, set the figure over there. Please don't fall. Close that up. There's a whole nother tray going on. Oh, let's remove it. Boom. More accessories. Here's the display base. Super cool little Dio display, but you know, that's actual paper mache newspaper on right there. That's cool. I probably won't ever use something this gaudy in my collection, but it's cool that it's there. He's got a little clip stand for holding on to the display. Alrighty. And accessories. And more accessories. Okay, that's gonna do it for the unboxing. I'm gonna take a second to get this guy all put together, and then we'll check him out. Stay tuned. And here we have Snake Plissken in all of his retro action movie glory. I'm a huge fan of these types of movies, these late 80s action movies, and Escape from New York, that's one of my favorites. The character of Snake Plissken also went on to inspire one of my all-time favorite video game series, starring Solid Snake or Naked Snake, depending on which one, the Metal Gear Solid series. So I definitely have a soft spot for this guy in my collector's heart. I did own the Sideshow one years ago, and actually a couple of different times. I was ultimately actually a bit disappointed with it. The pants didn't fit very well. The jacket material, it ripped super easy. It was way too tight on the figure. In fact, that's what I'm testing right now, is how well this guy actually articulates with that jacket on. And so far it looks like it articulates pretty good regardless of the jacket. One cool thing is this head is actually two parts. So you've got this part which sticks onto the ball joint, and that is a magnet. Then you just come in here, you take that Snake Plissken head, and you slide it on over the top until it sticks like that, and it looks great. Now, while this is rooted hair, it's heavily waxed or gelled, I'm not sure. So you're not going to have to worry about it getting all crazy like a Barbie doll. You can see I'm handling this figure quite a bit right now, and that hair just continues to look pretty darn good, right? Matted and weathered. Snake's not worried about how good he looks. Snake's worried about completing the mission, and that's exactly what he's going to do. My initial impressions, just right out of the box, pretty darn good. Now, I'm probably always going to have this guy displayed with that jacket on, because leather jackets are just kind of cool. But let's go over swapping out those arms, just in case leather jackets aren't really your thing. You want to display him with his guns out, right? He's an 80s action hero. It's gun show time. I'm going to remove that leather jacket. I've already removed the hands. I'm going to take that bracelet. He has two bracelets on. There we go. Just slide those off and set them to the side. This bracelet, I believe, was his recall bracelet. So once the mission's done, clicks that, they extract him. This bracelet, or maybe that makes him explode, I don't really remember. This bracelet was his countdown timer. That's how long he has left to complete the mission. And now we are left with these two arms. Now, I'm not really a great big fan of the rubberized arms. Over time, I'm convinced that regardless of how well they're made, they are going to break down, deteriorate, what have you. So I'll be using these arms underneath that jacket. And that jacket, by the way, that's real leather, right? This thing looks great, and it's probably going to withstand the test of time. I would think. I would hope. That's an awesome piece right there. Anyways, back to the arms. I'm going to use these. I'm not going to use the rubber arms. But I won't deny the rubber arms do look good. And I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there that are going to want to use them. So, let's pop those on. First, I need to get them out of their little slippy tray. There's one arm, and there's arm number 2. Let's test their articulation while they're off the body. It's a decent thick rubber material. It feels like anything that's ever come from 3.0's doing it quite a bit. You can get about 90 degrees right there. Once it's bent, you do have some rotation at the top, right like so. That's good. And then you're going to get your standard wrist peg. All right, we are going to pop off Kurt Russell's arms. There we go. That didn't require too much force. Hopefully this one's the same, because I don't want to break it. It's not a cheap figure. Oh man, that one is a doozy. Like I said, it's hot in this garage too, so I'm not sure exactly what I could do. Let me look at how that joint... It looks like it's just a little plastic socket. Par for the course with their new bodies ever since they moved away from the caustic plastic bodies. All right, we did it. There we go. That seems a pain in the butt to pull his shirt up. I think it's connected down there so that it stays tucked in all the time. So I'm not going to go through the hassle of disrobing this entire figure so that we can look at the tattoo. But I will show you those arms. Whew, that one is tough. Oh my gosh. That is not as smooth and easy as I would have hoped, which I guess there's good and there's bad to that. On the plus, right, once those arms are in, they're not just going to loosely fall out. I had an Aragorn using their new Atom body, and his right arm was just so dang loose in the socket. It would pose and it would hold, but if you went to articulate it just the wrong way, boom, it was popping out, and it popped out way too easy. I would much rather have it be tight and pop out too dang easy. So come on now. Let's get you in there. Ah, nice. You heard that. All right. Right off the bat, proportions on this guy, way better with those arms on. In fact, I think he looks so good with those rubber arms that I might keep those rubber arms on in my collection. Let's give him a hand, right? A trigger hand, and let's give him this hand. This hand right here almost looks like a perfect cigarette holding hand. However, cigarette, 1/6 scale cigarette, not included. So as iconic as that is for his character, just smoking away, you're going to have to provide your own if that's something you want to do. Okay, get like that. Cool. All right. All right. Let's go over the rest of the accessories real quick. I've already showed you the bracelets. At the start of the video, he had his 2 basic fist hands, right? He has a left holding something hand, maybe an ammo clip, because as we'll get to, he does come with those. He has a right splayed sort of gripping hand, holding on to something, maybe another cigarette. I don't know. He has a left trigger finger so he can dual wield. And he has his right gripping onto something hand. There we go. That stuff's good and juicy. Let's pop open this tray here and look at all the other goodies that he comes with. Now, I'm not going to put all of the pouches and straps onto the belt on video. I'm going to need to look at a reference piece, a reference photo to make sure I do that correctly so that they all look accurate to where they were displayed on the film. But as you can see, he is the king of pouches. Look at all those pouches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pouches to be put on the figure and tons of gadgets to go into those pouches. That's one thing that I love about 6 scale collecting. I love it when an action figure can display all the accessories that it comes with somewhere on the figure. Even if it's not visible, I like knowing that all those cool little accessories are somewhere on my action figure. Let's pull this out. Okay, I'm just assembling his silenced and scoped Mac 10. All the guns he used in this movie were absolutely awesome. So over the top, so extra. I think that's backwards. Silenced and scoped Mac 10. I think he only uses this thing in one scene. He sprays someone down with it. Let's put that in his hand right there. Hands are super soft. They're going to hold those accessories very well. And let's get it bent. Sneak Plissken. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That looks great. He's got another one. His revolver right there. And that's not a regular revolver. It is a scoped revolver, because this movie is just oozing with action movie goodness. The scope slides on right like that. Nice little reflective lens on both sides of the scope. And we'll set that. No, let's pop that in his hand, right? Yeah. Boom. Another excellent fit. We already went over all those pouches, but here's a pouch for the Mac 10 and a pouch for the revolver. He has this square-shaped pouch here. He has a rectangular pouch right here. He has a longer rectangular pouch right there. Is there anything in that one? Nope. I think this one is for the Mac 10 ammunition. He has this little radio right here. And he has, get it out. There we go. This little radar display right there. He also has an antenna, which goes in the radio, as well as a smaller folded up antenna that goes in the radio as well. This guy looks great. The accessories are awesome. There's not an insane amount of accessories, but really the only thing that I could have wanted extra would have been a cigarette for him to hold on to. And I'll probably just get my own. Those are cheap, easy to find anywhere on eBay. I could 3D print a 6-scale cigarette. Or some ninja stars. I'm pretty sure he also had some ninja stars in the movie. That would have been a cool one. But that's not a deal breaker either. Easy to 3D print. Get some of the old Sideshow ones. I think that one came with ninja stars. Very, very cool. Next, we'll go over articulation. Thanks for sticking around. Let's get into the articulation first. As you saw, that head is magnetized onto a double ball joint. So you're going to get tons of attitude, tons of pivot and looking around. That head's going to do anything, maybe even more than a normal human head could do. Can he touch his ear to his trap? Not quite, but plenty of tilt. That looks good. That works well. Let's straighten out that arm. As we saw, these arms only get to about 90 degrees with the bend. He can T-pose out just fine. Oh, those are some tight joints. Bend it. Pull it across his body. That's great. The wrist, the 6-scale wrist works exactly how they always work. hinge and swivel. As we saw, these arms work much the same way, although it seems to prevent him from putting his arm as close to his body as it should. But these are double jointed. You can get a little more of that elbow bend with them. And there's a solid swivel right at the top there. So if you want more articulation, these are the arms to go with. If you don't want to have to worry about your figure creasing right there, again, these are the arms to go with. If you're going to display them with the jacket on, as I am, these are the arms to go with. I rest my case. I'm not a big fan of seamless arms. All right, let's get him up. He has a solid diaphragm joint, which will allow him some tilting forward and some strutting back. Not a ton, but enough. He can get a lot more bend at that waist, especially in conjunction with that diaphragm joint. The clothing fits him very, very well. Unlike the Sideshow one, he can get his leg to kick up that high, which is great. At this point in time on the Sideshow release, his pants would have been down past his cheeks. No good. He can do the splits about that far. If I fold that leg in, he can kick out about that far. There is a good bit of back motion there. Double jointed knees will bend very well. And the boot is a 2-piece cut, allowing for your standard 6-scale foot articulation, even though it appears a seamless piece. That's another thing that this one does way better than the Sideshow version. Not that I'm comparing it too much with a 10-year-old figure, but it's really all we've gotten for this guy in 6 scale. Sideshow had a 1-piece boot. The foot on it was a little bit of an obtuse angle, unfortunately. So I constantly had to pose him to mitigate that. He couldn't just stand up straight easily because of how the boots were molded. I wish I had the Sideshow version to compare, because you could really see then just how much this guy blows him out of the water. But I don't, and it's not a terribly big deal. So let's get on to final thoughts on Asmus's Crown Series Snake Plissken. All right, time for my final thoughts on this action figure. You can tell that I did replace the arms back again, and I found that they will sit closer to his body so long as you push them in and up. It's just a little bit of finagling that you need to do. Probably something that I couldn't really see with the jacket on. But I'm going to keep these. I'm going to keep these arms on, I think. Seamless arms are cool. It's nice that they gave us the option. This being a Crown Series figure, I would expect nothing less than the best. And that's what I've gotten here. And that is my suggestion. Once you have the arms on this figure that you want, I don't think it's worth it to just go on and switch them out all willy-nilly. Pick which ones you want, keep them on there, because changing them is a pain in the butt. Those joints are so tight. Maybe yours won't be. Mine certainly are. And I'd rather have them tight than loose. However, I don't want to break anything when switching them out. And overall, it has been years since we've gotten a new Snake Plissken action figure. In fact, it feels like quite a while since we've gotten some serious love for a classic action movie film franchise like this. I know we got the MacReady from The Thing from Mondo a little while ago, and that one was all right. I didn't pick it up. I love The Thing movie. That's not my favorite version of it's not my favorite role that this actor's ever had, though. And it's more of a sci-fi horror than it really is an action movie, so it doesn't necessarily fit the bill. But this feels like a long time coming, especially after the letdown that the Sideshow version was. I'm just going to get that jacket back on him, because that is how he will be displayed on my shelves. And that Sideshow one was all we had for such a long time in 1/6 scale. NECA did a Real Toys retro cloth version, but That's just not the same thing. That wasn't a high-end figure. Did I leave that bracelet on? No, I took it off. Just slide that up there. Boom. Also, if you're going to put the jacket on as I just did, just take the bracelets off. I don't necessarily think it's worth it to have those on the figure with the jacket on. The jacket seems to fit a whole lot better without them. There's that. I do have an extra one of these that came without the rod for the display base. I am going to sell that one. I don't think I need two of these guys on display. However, am I happy to keep one? Absolutely. This thing is just exceptional. It's a great figure. But as always, you guys, if I've left any questions unanswered for you, or if you have any questions that were brought up by the filming of this figure, let me know. Hop down in the comments. We can get a dialogue going. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Stay happy, stay healthy, and keep on collecting. From a very hot garage, Nerdy Narwhal out.